He's the man, he's the myth, he's the legend, he's the scientist with all the answers and all the questions. It's time for another episode of Alex's Science Corner.
No, thank you. No. Please, thank you. Oh, that's enough. Thank you.
You mean stop. Alex, what's going on?
We got things to do, people. Let's get a move on.
In the wide, wide world of science, my friend.
All right. First up, astronomers at the Atacama Large Millimeter Array, or the ALMA Array, which is a massive astronomy facility in Chile. They observed our closest star neighbor, which is Proxima Centauri. Now, we've learned that there are planets around Proxima Centauri, and that some of the planets are within what we would call the habitable zone, which is the distance from the star that liquid water could exist on a planet. The challenge is, because this star is a small red dwarf, the planets are very, very close to the star. And the side effect of that is, if the star has any flares, they're going to get a much more powerful flare. And what the guys at the Atacama Array learned, because they were watching the star, is this star puts out some really powerful flares, enough to bake all the planets around its orbit. So unfortunately, the wavelengths of the flares are between the visible light and X-ray, so it would bake the planets, fry off any atmosphere, or burn anything that's not rock. So they are saying that it's probably unlikely that we're going to find life on the closest star to us.
Oh, okay.
So that's one of those.
Well, it wouldn't be on the star; it would be on a planet.
On the planet, right?
Yeah.
But they're baked, and not the fun kind of baked. They're being cooked into cinders.
Okay.
So that's one of those. If we're going to look for life outside of our solar system, it's not going to be that close.
That's not one place to look.
Yeah, that's not going to be one place to look. So there's a little bit of disappointment about that. The next story is about penguins. One of the things that researchers have learned about penguins in the Arctic is, for a while, they'd be taking satellite photographs of the Arctic ice sheets, and they'd see these dark patches on the ice. And the people taking the pictures didn't know what there was, so they sent the researchers that are in the Antarctic to examine these ice patches. And what it is they found massive colonies of penguins on these dark patches. And what they're seeing is these dark patches, or discoloration patches, it's the penguin poo. Okay, and so they're not seeing the penguins, but they're seeing the
remnants of the penguins.
And that's showing where the colonies of penguins
That's got to be a lot of poo.
No, really, that you can see it from that.
How
many are in a colony?
Birds.
How many are in a colony?
Well, that's what we're going to talk about here. So there's this one island in Antarctica that nobody goes to because it's a small chain of islands in Antarctica that is really, really tough to get to, so researchers don't go to that area normally. And they were seeing a discoloration, and they're like, well, there's a population of penguins over there, but that's like nowhere near where other penguins live. So it's got to be a really small colony. But we'll send over researchers and see how many penguins are on this really tiny island in a place where penguins really shouldn't be living. And so because of the poo, they sent the researchers there, and they flew drones over the area, and the researchers tried to count. But the colony is so massive that they could not do it by just the researchers themselves. They had to use photo mosaic technique and advanced digital counting techniques to try and count the penguins. And they're estimating that on this small island, it's the largest colony of penguins they've ever seen. There's over 1.5 million adult penguins on this island.
Wow.
Okay. And that's the minimum amount, because they're figuring there's a lot of ways that there's going to be, because part of it is they're counting nests. And penguins will form a nest by two penguins will form a nest. Now, if there's single penguins that are not part of a mated pair, that's going to be more penguins, and they're not counting chicks as part of that. So there may be 1, 2, or more chicks. So the minimum amount of penguins that could be on this island is 1.5 million
And
penguins.
how big is this island?
It's teeny. It's smaller than most other places. Again, one of the things about this particular island is it's small and is in a place in Antarctica where it's very difficult for the penguins to get food, which is why they didn't expect to see a large population there. But it's one of the largest populations in a location that they weren't expecting to find them. So
it's the Long Island of Antarctica.
Yeah. And again, the reason they found it was because of penguin poo. And that's honestly, knowing the level of my co-host, I figured that would be the catch for that story.
Yeah, because Bobby and I love poo. He's dumbing down the stories for us, Bobby.
I noticed. But he didn't answer my question about how big the island was either.
I don't have those numbers. It
Okay.
is all they're saying right now is there's a small
He's not
island.
as prepared as we thought he might be, Bobby.
It is a teeny island compared to the rest of Antarctica, and it's kind of in the.
Okay.
And they didn't say in the article, so.
All right, folks. If you have any questions about penguin poo or anything else Alex has talked about,
or getting burned up in outer space.
That's kind of a cool story.
Red Star Dwarf.
Feel free to call him right now. Don't hesitate. Don't hesitate to call him right now at 203
837
99
24.